So we come to the land of a cuckolded race, where taxpayers give us free homes, where they spare no expense to protect from offense. It's haram, but hey, when in Rome. When the dues of the West will be paid to the rest, and they'll give up without a fight. Come on down, stop and buy, hop a dinghy and ride to another Arabian night. Arabian night, help us poor refugees. Give us what you can spare, your daughter's welfare, then get down on your knees. Arabian nights, they can see through our ruse. A blonde of her guard will get raped and raped hard by desert Hindus.
In descriptions that bear some of the hallmarks of the New Year's Eve assaults in Cologne, where upwards of 1,000 women reported being sexually assaulted by large groups of men, there have been reports by 26 women at a music festival that also took place in Western Germany. This is the Schlossgrabenfest, musical festival that took place over the weekend for 4 days.
And we're back. We've got a story that seems to be straightforward. It would seem that the talking points coming out of this story should lead you in one direction, and that direction would pretty much be shock, horror, and alarm, and condemnation of the bastards who are doing this to our beautiful German women. But before I get into that, in defense of these Muslim scumbags who did this, they were at a music festival called the Schlossgrabenfest. It's literally a grab fest. So when you grope at the Grabenfest, can you really be blamed? I mean, most people don't know what a Schloss is, neither do I, but it sounds sexual. If somebody came up to me and said, "Can I grab your Schloss?" I'm guessing someone's going to touch me where my bathing suit covers. Now let me explain one thing to you that I'm not going to tell you. I am never going to tell you that I am against sexual assault. And do you know why I'm not going to tell you that? Because if you don't know that I'm against sexual assault, we have some fundamental problems with our relationship. You have no idea who I am, and the fact that you would think that I would need to say that shows me that you are an abysmal waste of time. Who would feel inclined to state, look, I'm against sexual assault. I'm against grabbing the Schloss. But here's some other points. But before I give you those other points, which might seem to minimize the egregiousness of sexual assault, let me just tell you I'm against sexual assault. Please continue.
Upwards of 100,000 people attended each day, and a group of women, or a number of women rather, have been reported sexual assaults, instances where they were surrounded by groups of men and were groped and sexually assaulted. The spokesperson for the Western German province, city where the festival was taking place, police spokesman said the following. These people then approached the women, danced around them and touched them in an inappropriate way. Groping was apparently the main motivation. This, as I said, Mark, this is reported that upwards of 26 women have reported this. In terms of the scale, I think 26 women, not to belittle or downplay the nature of the attacks and the assaults, but as we were talking about before we came on air, in terms of the scale.
Where are you taking us? In terms of the scale, oh God, please let him compare this to a problem B. Please let him diminish problem A by mentioning another problem B. So wait, the scale of 26 assaults should be compared to 0 assaults. When you go to the Grabenfest, you're not expected to get fingered or groped, unless you're going into a mosh pit. But I don't think this is the same kind of festival. So 26 should be compared to 0. 0 should be the norm. The whole story is that 26 women were violated. So we're going from 0 to 26, but wait a minute, maybe he's going to take it a different direction. I wonder why. I wonder why. Where's TJ, the amazing atheist, to give us some car crash stats?
26 women versus the over 1,000 that took place in Cologne. The numbers just aren't, it's not as jarring to read about. It's always upsetting when you hear about this. But I think the reason that we're reporting on this, the reason that people are talking about this, is because it's Germany, and because of the nature of the assaults whereby women were surrounded by groups of men.
No, it's not just because it's Germany, it's because it's an assault. It's an assault from a new group of people that have entered a country, which a lot of people said, hey, fuck these people. They have a lot of problems with them. And one of those problems is their view about women and their criminality. This is not even a crime in their mind. This is a play toy. This is what they do. So a mob mentality coming from backward people who live with an ancient misogynistic mindset? Yeah, that is what people are concerned about, and this is the proof. And what did we say after Cologne? This is not the first time, and it's not the last time. And guess what we have here? More of the same. But wait a minute, it's not 1,000 women, it's only 26. Oh, phew, thank God. Oh, wait a minute, one of those 26 was my wife. Okay, but it wasn't one of the 1,000. 1,000 is more than 26. Oh, this man is a math wizard. Downplaying and diminishing a story by mentioning another story where something worse happened. Hey, a guy just raped 10 women in my village. He's a bastard. We should go hunt him down. Yeah, I'm against rape. I am against rape. But have you heard about the My Lai massacre and the rape that went on there? A lot more than 10. Way more than 10. So if you just, perspective, people.
And also by the fact that the people who have been arrested, although they have been subsequently let go, are immigrants, and they are people who have been seeking asylum.
Immigrants and people who have been seeking asylum. Yeah, I'm sure it was veterinarians from Japan looking to relocate to Germany. Was that the type of immigrants? Could you please say the word, Mr. Voldemort? Muslims. It was the goddamn Muslims.
So those sort of three trigger points there have caused us to revisit the immigration policy of Germany, the assimilation, and the cultural differences and the specifics.
The reason you're covering the story is insidious. You don't have to cover this story. The reason you're doing it is to virtue signal and to diminish what happened there. And then to switch the focus onto people who are concerned about the mass sexual assault of its citizens.
And the cultural differences between Western Europe and people coming from different countries and cultures.
Different countries and cultures. Yes, it was a group of American college students that went on a spree. Was it? Was it South Koreans? Was it Argentinians? Was it the British? They've been known to get drunk and act like an idiot abroad. No, it wasn't any of them. It was all Muslims. But way to frame that. Way to sugarcoat that.
Right, although I have to point out that this type of thing happens at music festivals around the world. Inappropriate behavior, people getting intoxicated or whatnot and acting in inappropriate ways. But
no, it doesn't. No, it does not. And not in this manner, and not with this frequency, and not with this number. It literally does not. By the way, what you just heard right there was problem B, yet again, rearing its dumb, ugly head. So if a rape epidemic happens somewhere, guess what? There's rapes everywhere, people. Don't criticize problem A, because two wrongs make a who cares. Two wrongs make a why are you harping on this first wrong when there are many wrongs? In fact, so many wrongs that you can do nothing about them. You're handicapped. It would be a pointless waste of your energy to try to stop all sexual assault, stop all rape. So therefore, why are you even talking about this? Is my job done here? Have I discouraged you to the point where you will now shut up? Instead of hope and change, no, don't hope because things will never change. Hashtag car crashes, hashtag someone grabbed a tit at Lollapalooza.
did they apprehended some people, you said, and then let them go. How many people were apprehended and why did they let them go?
It's not 100% clear because you're drawing from different sources, but they reportedly arrested 3 individuals. They're looking for 3 more. So there were 6 people that they had on their list of
Individuals, 3 Pakistani individuals. Can we give a little bit of information here? 3 individuals. They were 3 organisms. They seem to be sentient. Let's be very vague here. Zoom out, zoom out. They may or may not have been male. We don't know what they identify as. Their body parts would seem to indicate that they're male. I'm not sure what's going on internally, psychologically. Could be a Caitlyn situation. We don't know. They were Pakis.
people or persons of interest. 3 individuals that they arrested were of Pakistani origin.
Oh, thank you. He does mention it. Thank you for mentioning it. They were Pakistani, and this is just way outside the norm for Pakistan. I've read the Pew numbers. They have a high opinion of women. There are no honor killings there. Women are not being flogged and beaten and stoned and burned to death every year in Pakistan.
They were all 3 of them were asylum seekers. And the further details we don't have at this time.
Yeah, and I don't minimize, the impact of any woman who has been assaulted in any way.
Oh, he wants to jump in. He's not going to go on the offensive. He's not going to say, you know what, we really need to look at this Pakistani immigration because I know it's not all, but here's the caveats. But you know what, it's a fucking problem, okay? We don't like this. Am I allowed to say that? I don't like the women of Germany getting groped unless it's by me. Is that fair to say? I don't want to minimize. So here we go. once again, I don't want to minimize the sexual assault of people in a distant land, but...
I just want to also point out that...
Oh, he avoided the but. See, a lot of people now, they hear how stupid they sound. So he doesn't want to actually say, I don't want to minimize sexual assault, but he just changed it to pause. I also want to say, yeah, we call that in English, but. You can just sum that up with but.
I just want to also point out that it doesn't reflect upon the entire population of asylum seekers either.
Oh, really? Yeah, because I was about to smear the Japanese immigrants and the Australian immigrants. And me, I'm an American immigrant. When I saw those Pakis groping those women, I thought, fuck, I probably grope women. I'm an immigrant. Oh, not all. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the sidetracking. Thank you for the absolutely morally scandalous, time-wasting tactic you're currently undergoing.
That it doesn't reflect upon the entire population of asylum seekers either.
No, and
that was his whole point. He stopped after that. By the way, I don't want to minimize sexual assault, but it's not all. End of thought. Can you believe that? This is the world we're living in. These people buy a desk, get the webcam fired up, pretend to be newsmen. This man doesn't know a goddamn thing about this story, and the other guy glanced over a paragraph on this on some regressive website.
No, and absolutely, we're not seeking to minimize it.
You're not so... Okay, by the way, that's number 3. The third time that they're mentioning to you, that announcing to you, okay, virtue, where are you? I'm against sexual assault. Don't want to minimize it. Don't want to minimize it. What is the synonym you're going to use for but right now? You don't want to minimize it, but...
Seeking to more importantly contextualize it and understand it.
Aha! Contextualize it. You want it... Fucking A, dude. This is molestation apologists. I don't want to minimize rape and sexual assault, but I want to give you some context. The man had testosterone. The woman was wearing something. There was alcohol involved. He didn't know any better. Not all immigrants. What context are you talking about? This is basic golden rule morality 101 shit. Context. Why don't you spread your cheeks and I'm going to stick my foot up your ass. But I don't want to diminish the pain you're going through due to the fact that I'm ankle deep in your asshole. But let me explain the context to you.
And to frame it in the correct way. And I think people were very quick at the time to associate the sexual assaults directly with asylum seekers.
Do you know why we associated that sexual assault with asylum seekers? Calm. It's because they were asylum seekers. The association, it literally was the asylum seekers that did this. And it was asylum seekers and Muslims who did it in Cologne. And by the way, it's not just these 2 events. This shit is happening all the time. Would you like to see the graph? Oh, I would. This is 2016. This is the country of Germany, my adopted home. Here are the sexual assaults that happened this year. Okay? If you'd like to see this, the link is in the description, and there's full details and an entire article based on each one of these events. Here's attacks on children and young people. And by the way, this is all done by immigrants. This is not just general crime. This is what they have done. This is robbery and theft. Oh, yeah, but we need context for that because they tend to be poor, and they're poor because we brought them here on boats and because of Iraq. And oh, no, that's different. Oh. Here's the riots and threats and miscellaneous bullshit. There you go. Here is criminal assault. Wow, what a diverse rainbow of crime we live in. Here's murder and killing. Ah, very nice. Look at that, all in the West. We got to deal with that shit. The people over in Dresden, the Pegida people, they regulate and they say, no, it's not happening here. And here are the pool assaults that happen in pools, where women get groped in pools. There it is. Oh, by the way, I don't want to diminish any of the marks you see on that map, but just please understand the context. And also, more women were raped in Rwanda. Okay, bye.
Of the arrests that were made, again, reports are varied as to the number of arrests that were made, but one of the reports suggests that 58 individuals were arrested. Of those 58, there were only 3, and 3 is still 3 too many, and 58 is 58 too many. But there were only 3 that were asylum seekers. The other 58 were from illegal, or the other 55 rather, were illegal immigrants and from a variety of nationalities, mostly Moroccan and Algerian.
Okay, so very good distinction there. It's not the asylum seekers. Those are the ones we like. That's the source of my virtue signal. Welcome refugees, all that. So if you're just some random Moroccan illegal immigrant and you're molesting people, okay, that's one thing, but you're not one of the glorious asylum seekers. Jesus. Okay, once again, what is the common thread with all these young men? All Muslim. Say it with me now. And here's the sign in the background. Geggin. Geg on this. Gegen Sexismus and gegen Rassismus. So what I'm going to gather from that with my broken, horrible German is that that person is against sexism and racism and felt it necessary to mention both in one sign. Well, you know what I'm gegen against? I'm gegen against your weakness and blindness on this topic. Nobody's in favor of racism. That is not a topic to be had at this moment. It's a total red herring, and it's shameful that you would bring it up. And virtue signal on the fucking same sign where you're trying to condemn sexism and the sexual assault of your fellow Germans. Save that secondary shit for your Facebook and Instagram posts. Focus and think about what you're saying.
So it then comes down to the sort of trying to understand the nature of the crime and then the whys and the wherefores.
Understand the whys of the crime of groping a woman. Oh, the nuance. Oh, well, how do we know? Were they tit men or were they ass men? Were they going for the crotch? Were they trying to get a little credit card swipe on that gash? What are we talking about here? I think we're fully aware of the motivation of this crime. What putrid white noise this limey twat is trying to peddle off as fucking news coverage. Pathetic.
It doesn't seem to have been, it doesn't have, although it's got similar hallmarks insofar as these women were surrounded and they were groped in a kind of mass group setting, it doesn't seem to be quite so, to my mind, doesn't seem to be quite so coordinated, quite so strategic as arguably the Cologne attacks were.
It's not so bad. Ladies and gentlemen, there was a guy in UCLA the other day, brown guy, shot up some people at my school, killed a couple people. But you know what? I don't think that was nearly as coordinated as what Anders Breivik did. By the way, he shot and killed way more people, and he had a bomb. It was a whole thing. He had planned that out, and that was far worse of a problem. So just sit with what I just told you. Think about it for a long time, until you reach that point of zen when you realize that I have said nothing. And not even that, it's actually worse than that. I've wasted everyone's time by bringing up an irrelevant problem B for the sole purpose of trying to minimize and cast a positive light on this first inexcusable problem.
As I said, not to downplay it, not to minimize it.
Oh, no, too late, buddy. Too late. This is the 5th time that these people have said, I don't want to minimize sexual assault. You think there's a problem here? If I make a video and I mention 5 times in the video, oh, I'm not here to tell you it's okay to fuck 10-year-olds, but if I mention that 5 times in 5 different ways, you might want to investigate me a little bit more. There could be something rotten in Denmark.
But the scale is very, very different. We were talking about well over 1,000 reported instances, and it was so...
Okay, Dork, please answer me this. We're talking about the scale of differences. I went to see Ellie Goulding in concert in London a couple years ago. At that concert, not a single woman was molested. Now, 99% of the people there were not Muslim, so factor that in. But nobody was groped or sexually assaulted. 0 cases. So in terms of scale, the 26 women that were violated, I don't know, is anybody good at math at home? Can you tell me how much more of a problem that is? Mathematically, of course, if we're comparing problems. Do I have to explain to you that the default, the norm, what we expect is for there to not be sexual assault? The reason that there is a story is because at the Grabbin' Fest, people were grabbing. And that is a problem that you are trying to mask and smokescreen out of existence, that you are trying to shroud with your rape apologetics.
So the sheer scale of it is very, very different.
Right. You have what essentially is one group of friends at a very, very large music festival acting in an inappropriate way and assaulting women by groping them. Is this the allegation?
Right, correct.
And the people that they've detained, were they determined to be the people that were responsible?
Is this like retarded, rudimentary? I mean, what is this guy's service to this segment? Did the people that they arrest, could it be like, could it be a fuck the cops thing? Maybe they're just racist cops going after picking up any old Muslim. Maybe it's a corrupt court system. You know, it could be like they were innocent people just dragged into this. How do we know if they, oh my God, this man has missed the plot. Just totally off the reservation.
They've subsequently been released. They were arrested. They've subsequently been released, and the investigation is ongoing. They're looking for any other individuals who are involved in the offence. As I said, the backlash and the temptation is to try to attribute these types of crimes to asylum seekers, to illegal immigrants.
Well, that was a half-assed attempt at a not-all argument. I attribute those crimes literally to asylum seekers because it was asylum seekers that did it. And the larger picture, which is not lost on me, but apparently it is on you, is that this was Muslims yet again. So I attribute it to these Muslims. Not all Muslims. Oh, I have gripes with them too. Trust me. They're not off the hook, but they are for this specific individual act by these men. But I know what's happening here, and you're not going to rose-colored glass the situation for me.
And then to make whatever cognitive link you want to make in terms of assimilation, in terms of a lack of cultural simpatico, the fact that there are incompatibilities.
Cultural incompatibilities? Dude, they're fingering our women. Our women are being raped and groped and are living in terror now. Cultural, what did he say? Cultural incongruity, cultural simpatico. Oh my God. Okay, a lack of cultural simpatico is, hey, don't you think Indian food is too spicy? Yeah, can I get a dollop of sour cream on this? Or yogurt sauce? That is cultural friction. This is an outrage. So stop trying to make this sound better than it is. It's not.
And I don't necessarily want to make a rush to judgment in this instance. It was whilst not seeking to minimize the offense.
What is that? The sixth time they said, I don't want to minimize sexual assault? And how is he going to say? Is he going to say but this time? Be a man and say but. I don't want to say rape is okay, but. Please tell me that.
I also don't want to.
I also don't want to. He's afraid of the but. See, because by saying the but, he hears his own but. He says, I also want to. Yeah, it's also known as but. So it's a but not all. I don't want to minimize the impact of sexual assault, but it's not all.
Make some kind of overarching claim as to the lack of compatibility and what this says about various cultures and how Western cultures and the Western civilization clashes with people from the Middle East or from East and Southeast Asian cultures.
Yeah, the jury is still out on the Muslim culture. It could be a really good thing for your society. Crack open the current events of any country that coexists with Muslims. Or take a gander at a history book for once.
The evidence just isn't there.
The evidence isn't there. It's literally suffocating us. The evidence is everywhere. What a blind doofus. The evidence isn't there. The jury's still out. Fucking madness, dude.
And the rush to judgment and the demonization, the stigmatization of Muslims and...
What? Rush to judgment? This is the most carefully reasoned, weighed, logical position to take. The information is in. The Pew numbers are in. The facts, the dead bodies, the acts of terror, the honor killings, the sexual assault, the subjugation of women. We know this. If you have eyeballs and a brain, you know this. This fucking pussy wants to live in a happy world where, all cultures are there's different. Nobody's incompatible. Nobody does crime more than any other group. It's just, forget it, people. It's alcohol. It was a misunderstanding. Again, don't stigmatize them. No, I will be stigmatizing people in a death cult who deserve it. They absolutely deserve it.
The stigmatization of asylum seekers in general is just all too commonplace.
Oh, I don't. There are asylum seekers and immigrants in general who come from countries that are not Muslim, and I have no problem with them. Ever heard of Indians or Chinese or friggin' Latin Americans? Anybody else. Literally, it's anybody else except for Muslims.
And I don't think in this instance it's appropriate or necessary or correct. And coming back to it, I think the reason we're talking about it is because of what happened in Cologne. There have been a movement to try to highlight additional and further sexual assaults that apparently there's been. Conservative talkers are very, very quick to highlight sexual assaults that are being perpetrated or being committed by asylum seekers, immigrants.
Oh, Oh, okay, so don't be too alarmed about the mass sexual assault that just happened at a music festival, because the only reason we're talking about it was because a bunch of Muslims had a mass sexual assault on New Year's Eve. Oh, okay. Well, that really frames it in such a way where now it's, oh, now that you put it that way. Dude, the problem is the exact same. It is Muslim immigration into the West, and the friction we are seeing, that uncomfortable feeling in the pit of your stomach, is the fact that you and I both know that this is not going to work. And guess where we draw the line in the sand? The line in the sand is drawn around German women's tits and ass. Okay? Cross that line, we have a problem. Oh, what the fuck is Gewalt? See, this is some bullshit right here. I'm about to look that up. Google. I'm typing with one hand here. Gewalt. Oh, good. It says no violence against women. Okay, well, that makes sense. Now, if on the back of that he says, I'm also against cat AIDS and racism, then that would be bullshit, and I would call him out on it.
And again, the evidence is sketchy and patchy at best.
Patchy! It's not patchy at all. Look at this map. What's patchy about it? In fact, it's a full head of hair of sexual assault. It is blotting out the entire map. It's not patchy at best. Wake up!
So whilst it's important to report on this, I certainly wouldn't want to make any illogical, incorrect assumptions.
He ends it with that. Oh my God. Oh, so everybody, you can see. Wow. It's just fantastic. These dudes at the lip are just contributing absolutely nothing. Actually, they're doing damage. There's some young-ass people out there watching that going, oh, okay, I'll view it that way. Oh, no, nothing to see here. Another ghastly performance by these yokels. Another hideous joke of fake journalism, pandering, apologetics, propaganda, absolute weakness. Way to stick up for the women, bro. Super proud of you, man. But then again, who am I to disagree? I travel the world in the 7 seas, and everybody's looking for a little tit grab.